Get this 11 to 1 weekdays on the Triple M network.
The show brought to you today by Dave Wrigley.
Riggers.
That's right, Dave Wrigley, one of our listeners. It's his birthday today. What's going on? What's that about? What's that about? Oh, sorry, I forgot. It's Inappropriate Wednesday.
I see.
Everything is inappropriate on today's show. Welcome aboard. Who is Dave Wrigley? Craig Frost has emailed us to say he's a big fan of your show. It's now at the point where he listens to you more than his own wife, causing her to question his more than unhealthy obsession with three men he's never met. Who are these three men, you say? Well, Dave, it's a big day for you and it's a big day for us. It's Inappropriate Racial Epithet Day here at Get This with myself, Dead Set Spec, Tony Martin, sausage-sucking Krauthead Cavalier,
That could be a double entendre.
and nappy-headed hoe Richard Marsland, pushing buttons as only he can.
I demand an
bangs,
apology.
Nice bangs,
you
Rich.
people.
Are we all equally offended?
Yeah.
Good.
I'm out of here. I'm going to take this sausage and suck it elsewhere. Those ducks are good.
They are. You want some more of them?
Yeah.
It is Inappropriate Sound Effect Wednesday.
Quacking in here, demanding bread. Get out of here, ducks.
It's Capril, that's what it is.
Oh, yeah, listen.
We're still flying the flag, and, you know, you'll see the odd bloke walking up the street with a suit and a green cape. That's a good look. But it hasn't really, caught on big time yet, the way I thought it would.
It's a groundswell. Laws, L-A capital W-S, has MySpace Dust, and she's got 4 photographs of herself with a cape that she's made, one billowing out the side of what looks to be a Ford Festiva.
Oh, has she done the thing of shutting the door of the car on the cape and then it just drags along?
No, she's gone to the trouble of allowing it to kind of billow, but she's obviously got someone holding it because the car is stationary because she's using both hands to hold her cape. So I hope she's not driving dangerously in a cape.
Oh, not what
That is not what we're...
couldn't happen. I mean, obviously there is a certain amount of physical danger with Capril because it could get caught in something.
Oh, that's true.
Flush down a toilet like that
Flush
old
down a toilet.
Mad Magazine Batman cartoon. Remember that? That was a warning. You've seen The Incredibles. What can happen? What can go wrong?
Also, Eddie has MySpace Dust, and he's gone to the trouble of putting a cape on John Howard. He was celebrating one of the goals Australia scored against Japan in the World Cup.
It's not fake rule.
Oh.
They've got to be real, not Photoshop.
Oh.
Anyone can Photoshop a cape onto something. That's
Anyone? Can you?
No, but I know children.
No, you don't. What children do you know?
I'm related to some in Tasmania.
Eh?
They can do stuff on the computer.
How old?
They can download the entire last series of The Sopranos in about 10 seconds. Allegedly.
Put them to work. See, why don't you want kids? See all the good work they could be doing for you?
Now I'm starting to see what I'm missing out on.
Yes.
Now I finally understand that roller coaster at the end of parenthood.
Yes.
They can tape stuff for you off the internet.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
Yesterday when Ross Noble was here, we had a chat to him after the show and he was telling you about Foxtel IQ and you were telling him how you do things. For 14 hours a day, you sit there with a tape recorder, logging Channel 9.
VHS. I've got
Jeez.
2 VHSs working.
No.
Ross Noble's good. Yeah, people still have the VHS. I've not heard of those for years. But all right, okay, we've got off the subject. Capril, Mr. Marsden, have you seen anyone wearing a cape in the street?
Not as yet, no.
And you get around.
Yeah, I know.
You do get around.
I got a haircut yesterday. I mean,
How was
unfortunately,
that?
I didn't buy a cape and my breasts done, obviously, at the same time.
Sure.
Looking
but
good, by the way.
Finally
Thank
sorted
you.
out that boob dent.
A rounded D. It's lovely.
Listen, Lisa has emailed in and she
Hey,
says
Lise.
maybe the problem with Capril is this. Maybe Tony needs to do one of his trademark, slightly off-key, near-cockney soft shoe shuffles.
Off key, I find offensive.
They're always inappropriate on this program for Triple M. It's a bad sound on Triple M, I think.
don't know about
I don't know
that.
if it's making us more popular, but if you think that'll help. Oh, sorry to interrupt the podcast, listeners. Tony Martin here. Unfortunately, the late Nelson Riddle has refused to let us use his orchestra under the song on the podcast. So what we're going to do is still include it nude. That's right, a cappella. Stand back, music buffs. Hit that button, Matt.
Maybe you thought we were taking the piss. Maybe you thought I'm not having this. Maybe you thought I might just give Capril a miss.
Yeah, hang on. That sounds just like me.
Hey you,
Who, me?
yes you,
What do you want?
is that some kind of cape?
Why, yes, it is.
So what's the idea?
It's something called Capril.
It sounds really well thought out. It is. What's more, We've gone and got a prize.
That's not like you.
I know, check it out.
Is that an iMac?
It isn't a box of sand, get this. For once, has got a proper prize, so get your cape.
But who's got a cape?
Oh, for f***'s sake, a bath towel will do.
I'll just swirl it round my neck.
And once you're getting round in a cape, in amazement they will gape, and they'll say, who's that twat?
Oh, hang on, that's not really a very good way to sell this idea.
No, it's not.
Could you just jump the record over a couple of grooves?
What, like this? So are you capable?
It's the question everyone's asking.
Are you capable?
There you go.
Very nice. You've convinced the man in the street.
Surely the man in the street is caped up by now, Ed.
Yeah, look at them, Tony. It's a revolution. They're dragging down the sizzling hot banners, telling them to talk straight and listen hard over in the sales department, and they're swirling them on.
It's not even wear mufti to work day.
Revolution.
All right. There is a prize. You may have noticed from the lyrics. An iMac, a real 24-inch iMac, and a genuine caped up Are You Capable t-shirt for 247 runners-up.
We should do something to the iMac to personalise it.
Yeah, that's going to help.
Some photographs, Rich.
Oh, something that could get them arrested months later.
This is what I'm saying.
I've just got the Apple Imus, which is just spouts out racial epithets whenever you turn it on. It's an amazing piece of machinery.
You have been sitting on that for 10 minutes.
Now what's Rove going to say on Sunday, Rich?
Yeah, using
Hey?
all the good. You normally save the good gear for Rove.
This is the hierarchy of Richard's joke writing.
Yeah,
It
what is the hierarchy?
First, all the good, best stuff goes to Rove.
For Rove.
And then who gets second?
His stand-up act.
Oh, his stand-up act. Then one of his unnamed other radio appearances
Showing
that we can't mention.
Then he slips some of the second-rate gear to Ann Wills.
Then Ann Wills gets
after
that.
dinner speaking.
Yeah, and then it's that the character of the prof.
On community TV.
Community
So we're sixth cab off the rank.
Sixth cab.
The sixth best material created by Richard Marsden, hot off the griddle every day. It's all part of the fun. And get this.
I need
Bloody.
If you listen to those ducks, hang on. This is what was throwing me in the opening break. Someone has put those ducks in the computer, and it's as if somebody has bumped the CD player. You just play them again from the beginning. You just hear it. Have a listen to this. These are corrupted ducks.
Yeah.
See, that's skipping.
He's a
it's
rapper.
like someone's out the front of the radio station just hitting the building.
Hitting a duck.
Every time we play those ducks.
Smacking a duck.
They are corrupted. No corrupted ducks on this program.
Get
I'm
out of
afraid.
here, ducks.
We
wanna-
have standards. What about this pizza business? Have you heard about pizza tattoos? They're catching on. Well, in Wales, anyway.
Yep.
A man has had a slice of ham and pineapple pizza tattooed onto the back of his head. In what appears to be a growing Welsh trend for food-related body art. Last month, tattooist Blaine Dickinson etched a full English breakfast on a man's head. Now, Ed, you're drooling.
I am.
What food would you get tattooed on your head, do you think?
I was just thinking about it on my head because I would get a full sort of pig on the spit on my back.
You have to-
full length, you know.
Oh,
So then,
yeah.
if I was rolling around in bed, you know, it's like I was stewing in my own juices. And when I was sweating, it was like I was, you know, delivering flavour or something delicious like that, crackling.
But if you were to shave, the helmet off, what would you get going up there? up top?
Oh, geez.
What about just an egg sort of frying on your forehead? And then just take a recording of Sizzle wherever you go.
That's a good one.
That'd
Okay.
make you popular.
Reckon? Would it? That'd be nice. I'd like to get. You know what I'd like? I'd like to get some, like an ice cream. You know, so what you'd do is you'd wear a cone.
Oh,
Like you'd
right.
get a cone and you'd strap it on like it was a little hat,
Yeah.
and then you'd get an ice cream tattooed on your head that was dripping down your face.
Yeah. There'd be no turning back, though.
I know. You'd have
No.
to wear the cone every day.
Or you'd look like an idiot.
Yeah.
But the pizza, would you get that? Would you go the
No,
pizza?
not in the-
Standing in the tattoo parlour going, yeah, I'll have the medium. No, the large. No anchovies. They look terrible. And just a large Coke on the side. Thanks. And if that's not indelibly applied to the back of my head in 20 minutes, you know how this joke ends. dear, oh dear. Tattoos. And you're saying you're getting one, Mr. Master?
No, I haven't had the guts to get a tattoo
Get a
yet.
tat, Rich.
Come on, tat up.
I know.
Get shock jock over your forehead.
My friend was a massive suede fan back in the day.
Oh, dear.
And had suede tattooed on his arm.
Oh, dear.
Now he just looks like a fabric fan.
Doesn't look any good now.
Yeah,
A pair of corduroy pants tattooed onto your legs would look nice.
I'm just lowering down my trousers so you can't see in a big country. Nah, it's embarrassing.
But England are going tattoo crazy.
No, they.
There's a guy in the UK who's marrying a woman whose name he had tattooed on his arm 32 years ago.
Oh,
That is commitment, isn't it?
I don't understand.
So he's been looking for that woman. He
Yeah.
started with the tat, and then
Well, it was very difficult finding a woman with the name Harley Davidson Motorcycles after 32 years. But there you go. You never know you're luck in a big city.
Give yourself some ducks, man.
I'll give myself some scissors. And there we go.
throw some ducks in the pan too while you're there. Some corrupted ducks.
Ducks. Get out of here, ducks.
Hit the building. There they go. There's the jump. The big names keep coming. It's Andy Zaltzman. Oh, sorry. We're just playing any sound effect in our computer now, Andy.
Bananas.
Always happy with a sound effect after my name.
What I
I
love.
might actually see if I can change my name officially so it has a sound effect after.
So that everyone will have to pronounce it like that. Andy. Andy. What I love is every bio about you, and you've been shockingly perusing them and discovering you didn't write any of it, talks about, one of the best political stand-ups in the business. Comes in, just wants to hear sound effects. Satirical sound effects by any chance? Is that true, or is that nonsense as well? Political issues, are they your main concern?
Yeah, they are, but I do tend to address them in a fairly idiotic way, I guess. Lots of contrived sporting analogies.
Oh, some wonderful cricket ones.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
Love
loving
cricket,
that.
yeah. There was this rumour flying around the internet and television stations that England were absolutely thrashed by South Africa last night, but that is not true. That didn't happen. That was a fake match that was broadcast. England actually won by 200 runs.
As they so often do.
Have a Capricorn 1 moment.
Have you picked up any terminology here in Australia, any that you could use?
What, from cricketing terminology?
Cricketing or any sort of wordage?
Not really, yeah, no. I guess because as a comedian, I've been doing most of the talking.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So, yeah, they've been picking up my terminology.
And would any Australian politics ever make its way to where you live?
Australian politics isn't covered in great depth back in Britain.
Despite our charismatic Prime Minister.
Yeah. But, I sort of touch on it a little bit in my show. But, I mean, I guess, kind of jokes about the war on terror. I can just tag the name John Howard on the end. And it feels like I've written it especially for Melbourne.
Bring the house down.
I don't know if you'd be a fan of 24. Have you ever seen that show?
Massive fan of 24.
Really?
To me, it's probably the greatest documentary series ever.
It's on tonight, 10:30.
Cool.
Sort of.
What are they up to, Tone? Because I watch it illegally off the download.
Yeah.
And what is the regular TV up to?
Well, I've got a clip from tonight's episode.
All right, then.
This is from the beginning of tonight's episode of 24.
Vice President Daniels has ordered a nuclear strike against Fayyad's country.
What's he trying to do? Start World War III?
Which is why we have to find Fayyad and Greidenko before Daniels launches the strike.
When is it happening?
Within the hour.
Within the hour, of course it is. Why don't they just sit there at ZTU and go, if something's going to blow up, it's going to be at exactly 59 minutes and 59 seconds.
Everyone take a break till then. I love that guy's voice. That guy? Yeah. Always eating Maltesers as he talks.
Buchanan, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Buchanan, yeah.
Well, so I'm about probably 3 episodes behind when we left. When I came over here, so you've really spoilt it.
Oh,
They're running around looking for a bomb. But they will do anything plot-wise. That's what I love about 24.
Yeah.
You don't watch it for depth of character.
No. Yeah, if you want something for depth of character, you watch Neighbours. And
That's absolutely right.
Get raw, unadulterated excitement.
See what Pepper's up to,
Yeah.
It's character you're after.
Sorry, Andy's probably a couple of years behind.
yeah.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. In the future.
Yeah, Madge is still alive back in the...
Things don't go well for her.
We love how, because we get EastEnders 2 years behind, or
right.
even older,
Yeah.
and you listen to what music they're playing. It'll be Who Let the Dogs Out.
Peter Andre's Funky Junkie. Everyone going off to it.
Now, look, British politics, we know bugger all about it. Who's this Gordon Brown? What's he do?
Gordon Brown, he is Tony Blair's successor in waiting. And when I say waiting, I mean waiting for the last 13 years.
13. See, we have Peter Costello. He's been waiting 11, I think, or 11. He's been treasurer at least.
Yeah. Well, I do think British and Australian politics are identical with different names and slightly different accents. In that we have a leader that no one likes, but consistently wins elections.
Elections.
And yet no one ever says, "Oh yeah, Tony Blair, he's fantastic." And it seems the same over here with John Howard, and yet he still wins. How many has he won in 4 in a row? Or?
4 in a row.
Yeah.
So if he wins a 5th in a row, he gets to keep it forever.
And yet never met a single person who will admit that they voted for him. That's true. What you do have in England that we love is incredibly unattractive men involved in sex scandals.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I guess, looking at the British gene pool, then there's, if any man is involved in a sex scandal, it's likely to be unattractive one. But, it's quite remarkable. And I don't know, I think the blame for that has to go to British women for sleeping with these people.
Who was the bloke who was having sex with his secretary in his office with the door open? That was maybe a year ago.
Oh. Well, that doesn't narrow it down.
No, I'm sorry about that.
When every self-respecting British male in a position of power and responsibility has sex with a secretary with the door open. It's one of the unwritten rules. But we don't have a written constitution. That's why people can get away with it.
Do what they like. Make it up as they go along.
Have you ever thought of getting rid of the royal family?
Oh yes, yeah, a lot. But then the problem is, what are you left with? I guess it's the same argument you had over here when you had your vote about it. That the prospect of King John Howard is even worse. So,
well, you've probably seen our flag. It just has the Union Jack just up in the corner there.
Yeah.
Just reserved.
Just hanging out, biding its time.
Yeah, we'll have that empire back up and running within 10 years, I'll tell you. And rightly so.
Well, why did that fail? I just think like you say, there was this move to go Republic, but then a whole lot of celebrities who everyone hated got behind it.
Yes.
I think that turned it off more than anything.
Yeah, well, I think there's 2 things that really turn voters off. One is celebrities, as you say, and 2 is politicians. So in any political vote, you're going to have problems trying to persuade people to vote for you because you're going to have politicians involved. And the standard response when you see any politician saying anything is somewhere between suicide and emigration, or at least just sitting and slamming your head against the table for a couple of hours to take the pain away.
We just can't, there's always, every couple of years, there'll be someone who they push as like the people's candidate. We had a guy called Bill Shorten last year.
The Short.
And they always find something. There's always some dirt. There's always someone's got some shares. Someone's got a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the story? I mean, is it because anyone who's really great just would never go into politics?
I think there is probably an element of that. And I mean, there's an argument that anyone who wants to become a career politician, who actively wants to go into politics, should be banned from doing so. And it'd be probably a much fairer system. You'd probably get a higher quality of politics if people were kind of selected, like for jury service. And were forced, but to spend 2 weeks being foreign minister. Or something.
2 weeks each. That'd be nice.
Yeah, it would be good, wouldn't it? So rather than deciding I want to be a politician and inflict my worldview on the voters, just plucked out of thin air.
Have you seen our foreign minister by any chance, Alexander Downer?
I've not seen Mr. Downer. Not aware of his work.
We've got an idea for putting him on that TV show. Thank God You're Here. Pushing him through a door, and his scenario is he's Australia's foreign minister.
He'll be lost. He will be lost.
See how long he lasts.
What do you describe him as? Completely made of pudding?
He appears to be made of pudding to me. Is that just me?
I think it's you. I think that smacks of you.
We were going to try and impress you with some of our political satire on this show.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Go on. Let's have some.
Unfortunately, it's too long. The bit we've got is like 4 minutes long, and we won't get another song in, and then there'll be trouble. Have we got any short examples of political satire, Mr. Marsland?
Sure.
My message to the people of West Papua is simply this. That's my message to them.
Mr. Howard, it's me.
If I'd have held it back, you'd have said, why have you held it back? Why have you covered it up?
Someone open the door.
Shocking horror, another cover-up.
Hey, well, that's fair.
Yeah, you can take that one back if you want. We'll bag that up.
Well, it is one of the rules of comedy, and this dates back 2,500 years to the ancient Greeks inventing comedy. Farting is funny.
Oh, yeah.
It's always...
That will always be funny. Us professional comedians can slave away for hours in our little comedic offices trying to come up with the perfect joke. A man farting will always be funnier than that.
That's right. And it's always good, like you say, if you can go back to the ancient Greeks, I notice some of you more pretentious comedians will drop in the word Rabelaisian. I don't know what that means. But it's some sort of word that allow you to get away with anything.
What
really.
does that mean?
The key with comedy is to try and make yourself look far more intelligent than you actually are. By using long words.
What else is going on around the world?
Wolverhampton, this is the one that we've been going on and on about. Well, when I say we, I mean me. The greatest news story ever told. Ready? Moggy catches bus. A cat has stunned bus drivers by commuting on a busy bus route for most days for 3 months. The mystery cat jumps on board the number 331 service in Wolverhampton, rides it 2 stops down the road before leaping off near a fish and chip shop.
Every day.
Every day.
What does it do then?
What he goes to work.
Amazing.
It's got to muck in. It's got to clean the chip thing.
How does it get home?
Well, he normally rides a bike. Maybe he rides the bike home.
I think he's lost his license for drink driving. So he has to catch the bus now. Look at this. As soon as I open the doors, he jumps on. He seems to like it.
Yeah.
The cat sat at the front. He waited patiently for the right stop and then got off. The only problem is, ready? He never pays. Hey!
Of course. They just open the doors, and then the cat goes for hours. Commuters go, come on!
Get him on.
It was funny yesterday, cat.
How cute is that?
That was the story you were sizzling up in our opening thing for 2 weeks.
No way, Tony. The people are with me on this. Just imagine the doors open. Little cat gets on and sits up on the front.
Cologne.
Are you there? Oh, that is impressive.
No, it's good.
In Cologne, a German brothel is offering half price to people who can prove they are over 66.
If it was a dog, you would have liked it. What?
You've got to think of a way of proving that you're over 66 so you can get half price at the brothel. Look, I wrote this insane letter complaining about pronunciation to Der Spiegel. Right, you're in.
In you come, young man.
What else is going on around the world, Mr. Marsland?
Oh, this is interesting. Disneyland.
That's a country.
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, can we say California?
Yeah.
Let's say
California.
That'll do.
Same-sex couples are now allowed to exchange vows at Disneyland.
Oh,
Isn't that amazing? That's amazing news,
Yeah,
really.
it is.
So they've got some sort of registry at Disneyland. Just in case Disneyland couldn't get any gayer, what they're doing is opening the arms to all kinds of same-sex couples absolutely everywhere. It's wonderful. It's progressive. It's a move forward.
Very progressive.
Great stuff.
What about this? Speaking of gayness, mincing cops ban in Manila.
What?
The Philippines police has said that while homosexuality is tolerated in the force, they don't mind a bit of that. The swaying of hips while on the beat could be grounds for dismissal.
Absolutely.
Teabagging during interrogation will not be tolerated.
Oh. How you meant to get a confession?
Arriving at the scene of a murder, it is unacceptable to shriek, "Oh my God, what have they done to this place?" Triple homicide is so retro.
So last
All
year.
right. Am I becoming offensive?
I had a flu shot this morning.
Yeah.
I'm feeling...
I think they put ice in it. I am feeling really
I had one
quite
too.
weird.
And I had that thing where the sandwich guy's ringing his bell, the flu shot guy's ringing his bell. Which one do you
Where
choose?
do you go? Got myself injected with lentil soup in the end, I think. Very confused. Got a Freddo, though. Pretty good news.
Did you have
No.
the flu shot, Rick?
I was considering getting a flu shot just so I could talk about it on the show.
The only one who hasn't been spiked.
So if anyone gets sick, it's
Now
my
we
fault.
know what it is.
Is that right?
Now we know what it is. He's like, oh, there's like someone's on the voice, flu shots. It's just Marsland in there.
We've been injected with Marsland juice.
Syringes full of gear to try and knock us out so we can take our jobs.
The white anting.
Richard Marsland.
All right. Well, I tell you what, we are
Watch
going
out, Rove. Do
You're-
not accept a syringe from Richard Marsland this week.
What's going to be happening in the Big Brother house? Listen to this. Rumours abound, including that a dungeon is being dug beneath the Gold Coast compound. A dungeon, a medieval dungeon. Do you think it'll be?
Jeez, you'd have the rack and stuff in there.
It'd just be a lot of people standing around it going, "Do I look hot in this dungeon? Does this dungeon make me look hotter?"
Does mold do good things for me? Does dank suit me?
They're also, the executive producer says what he says every year. We're hoping to improve the moral tone.
How? No.
Including perhaps, note the word perhaps,
Yeah, perhaps.
older housemates. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You don't see a lot of old people sitting around in the house.
No.
You want self-regarding, fake tan, empty-headed hotties looking in the mirror and asking whether they or the other people are hot and whether they think they're hot. And if not, maybe they might turn their gaze on the outside world and ask, which celebrities do you think are hot?
Here you go. And
In
then it's-
between backstabbing.
And then straight to the bedroom. Doona's on. Bouncy, bouncy.
That's it. That is the full range of concerns, activities and interests within that house.
Yep.
I'm not saying it's not great telly,
No one said that.
but what would happen? What would you like to see going on in there to shake it up a bit for real. Not the nonsense about, oh, we might have older people that they always say and raising the moral tone.
Really?
If they raise the moral tone, nobody will watch. I certainly won't be watching. It's the low moral tone that's the only point of interest as far as I can see.
It keeps me in. Sometimes I suspect the moral tone rising, and I switch off and call Channel 10 immediately.
Forget that. I'll tune over to Antiques Roadshow if I want. You know.
I saw a guy the other day on the Antiques Roadshow, which is on for an hour at the moment.
Yeah.
I
Oh, yeah.
strongly recommend it.
Yeah.
There was a table that he'd brought in, and the guy took off the top, pushed a button, and the guy had never seen this button in his table before, opened up the bottom and had like these old antique flower arranging things. 17 grand's worth of table.
Brilliant.
Sorry.
Was anyone hot on that show?
Why?
Is David Dickinson hot?
No.
He's certainly orange.
Well, the 60-year-old man that was appraising the value of this antique had a pretty good rack.
Should I get a boob lift?
Yes.
What's going to be going on in the house this year? Who do
I
you think's
reckon-
going to be in there?
We know single mum. Don't even worry about it.
Sassy single mum who calls a spade a spade.
Sassy.
Yeah,
single
yeah,
mum.
yeah. And I reckon there'll be an adoption theme this year. I reckon she's adopted a few kids, and they're like Angelina kind of style.
Yeah, right,
There'll be a
right.
sexy male doctor type. They'll be looking for a way to kind of cut into the Grey's Anatomy sort of monopoly on 60 male doctors.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
they'll set up little things like, Janie got a scratch on the leg, and Bobby had to, touch it, right? And then
That would have been in the dungeon, obviously. The punishment dungeon.
I actually think there's going to be a nana. I think they'll bust out a genuine old person.
Yeah, be voted out after a couple of weeks. So not
Just-
hot enough.
No,
No, just to say that they've done it.
exactly. And a grizzly bear. I think that
A grizzly bear. Now you're being
I
interesting.
think they'll all walk in and they'll all be like, "So, what? You're a promotions model? I'm a promotions model, right?" And I saw you at the Grand Prix and the Jim Beam tent, and then all of a sudden, a bear will be released. Then we'll see some action.
What about, I don't know, cameos, celebrity cameos? Do they do that? They have the intruder.
Yeah, they always have a couple of intruders.
What about
more bears?
Every week, Phil Spector in a different wig. Phil Spector with a loaded gun, just lurking around in the foyer
Very nice.
in a different piece.
They're going to have to outdo themselves with Galen,
Yep.
horse-faced.
Yeah.
About a real horse.
Yeah.
About a real horse. Shaved down.
Squished into that circular chair in the diary room. I'd like to see that. What about Todd and Brett? Let them in there.
That'd be an expert at that
They're
dungeon thing.
stayers.
They
Yes.
don't mind being trapped in an enclosed space. It's larger than what they're used to.
Guys, can you stop going to the bathroom in people's hats? All right, it's what we're used to. What about a smart guy? They tried it a few years ago
Yeah, it
with
wouldn't
Tim,
work.
who I knew from university.
He'll talk about the news. They're not allowed to talk about the news.
And as soon as you talk about the news, Mike Goldman comes on and goes, "Questions about that guy's sexuality." More after we've had time to cut together an incriminating montage.
that happened to your friend.
It did.
We've got to get that guy in.
Yeah, Tim
Yeah.
Monero.
He's
He's
the
great.
guy.
good.
We
He's
need
great.
him in here.
You know what I think they might
Chaser
get is
sometimes.
because of the success of the movie. I think they might get a 40-year-old virgin.
Oh,
Because suddenly virginity
Oh, yeah.
is very hot right now, especially
Yeah.
older virgins, nerdy virgins. They might get one of them.
good one.
That's what I think. Or possibly they had identical twins. Was it last year with the Logans? Or was
Yeah.
it the year before?
Yeah, the year before.
Siamese twins this year, I think. Because Siamese twins very hot right
They're
now.
in. They are in.
In that commercial, they're in a TV commercial.
yeah.
They've got to stack the fake Norgs higher. I reckon a mother, daughter, grandmother team with fake
Generations
Norgs.
of Norgs. You listening, people?
You know what it could be?
You listening, Endemol, dude?
A pregnant woman who could give birth in the house.
No, they've done that. So they did that somewhere else.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean what you're saying that they don't flog ideas.
Sorry.
We couldn't do that. It's been done elsewhere. What about Crystal?
Oh,
I
yes.
mean, she's kicked on. She's done,
Without-
we like to joke about how, who, knows where they are now. Crystal doing well in the Zoo magazine.
Well-
and I see she's come in with the world's best ass.
She won Best Ass.
Best ass, like a poll of everyone in the world. Zoo magazine give the award to one of their own columnists.
That was lucky. Jeez, that was lucky.
Yeah. Piers Ackerman won the best ass in the Telegraph, so there's a coincidence. Charlie Pickering, give it to him. He's on at the Comedy Festival. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, absolute pleasure.
Well, firstly, radio. You used to be on the radio, didn't you?
Yes, I quite enjoyed the radio. I missed the free CDs, I'll tell you that much.
We don't get any. We slag the music off so much. I think I've had 2 CDs in a year.
Well, I was working at Triple J, amateur radio Triple J.
Yes.
And the thing is that most of the bands they play are the bands that I like. And so it was basically a chance for me to exponentially grow my record collection without paying for it. And now it's just a point of contention with my wife because we just moved into another house. And I'm going, all right, we're going to need a house with a room for my CDs. I've got about 6,500 of them, and she's going, "You didn't pay for them. We're going to get rid of some." I'm going, "No, it doesn't work like that. This is music. This is a gift from the Lord, and we're not going to just throw that out."
Surely you can cull a few, like Wigfield could go.
No, but the problem, Wigfield can always go.
Sukiyaki, you can probably ditch that
But
by now.
I've got a thing that I like to go back to the most embarrassing music I have and then use it in some way. I did a series called Charlie Keeps It Real, where I spoke about the middle school of hip-hop. Because there's a lot of talk about the old school and the new school. And the middle school with artists like R. Kelly, before he was a pedophile, and when he was just an awful R&B artist.
Right.
And I've also got a solo album by LV, who was the hefty gent who did the singing on Gangsta's Paradise by Coolio.
Wow.
Well, he brought out a solo album called I Am LV, and yes, he was. And he did a totally a cappella version of Gangsta's Paradise without the rap, just him putting his own lyrics in.
Wow.
And it's possibly the worst piece of music I've ever heard in my life.
Whatever happened to the Fat Boys? Are they still around?
The Fat Boys, who recorded a rap opera.
Yeah.
I've got one of the Fat Boys albums,
Have you?
a rap opera, and it's kind of loosely based on Shakespeare. And when I say loosely, I mean they say Shakespeare in it. And other than that, I think it's just about trying to avoid hefty women for a night out on the town. But it's an opera.
Now, were they the first rap artists to do a comedy movie like, Ice Cube's busting out the Friday films now, but to remember Disorderlies?
That's right.
The Fat Boys in Disorderlies.
Where does that come in chronology to Cold as Ice, the Vanilla Ice film?
Oh, no, that's early 90s, I think, yeah. And would you class that as, well, I guess it's a comedy. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Soundtrack album's pretty funny.
And then Fear of a Black Hat and
Fear of a Black
CB4,
Hat.
etc.,
Yes.
etc. But I think Disorderlies was the first,
Groundbreaking.
And as we've just shown, established an entire genre
Oh, yeah.
of hip-hop turned comedy films.
Absolutely.
CB4.
Pootie Tang is...
Pootie Tang is
That's
classic.
kept that
What's
tradition
the
alive.
Snoop one with the airline?
Oh, Soul Plane.
Soul
Soul
Plane.
Plane.
That's just racist. That film, I know that it's Snoop, and I know it's an entirely African American cast, but I watched it and I was offended on behalf of Al Sharpton watching that movie, just going, no, you would not have hydraulic suspension on a plane. That is just right. No, you would not be serving watermelon in first class. That would not be happening. Thanks very much.
No, a DC-10 would not have a Jerry curl. It's just not on. Hey, so I notice whenever I go to someone who works in radio's house and have a look at their CDs, always the stickers, please return to the record company, property of MCA, something like that.
Well, I think that's what's holding me back, like selling off half my record collection, because I'm going to have to sit there for a day just peeling little do not resell
And
stickers off the back.
it's the really tough glue, for starters.
They're worse than the JB Hi-Fi price tags that ruin your CDs. They're awful.
And are the record companies ever going to come good on the promise on those stickers and demand them all back?
One day.
Where's all those Richard Marx CDs we sent out in 94? We need a recall. We've hardly mentioned Charlie's show. It's called Impractical Jokes.
Yeah.
We're talking about practical jokes gone horribly wrong. I'm trying to think. I've mentioned many times filling Michael Veitch's car with bananas.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking he'd go out and have a look at it in about 40 minutes, left it in the sun all day. Car had to be blown up at the tip. It was just full of black banana juice. That was it.
Well, my dad at pharmacy college, whenever they dissected anything, he would collect what was left over and hide them in various hard-to-reach parts of people's cars.
Yes.
And he'd always put one obvious one, like a dissected frog, under the number plate.
Yeah.
But then he'd hide more in the sills of the doors so people couldn't find them.
Wow.
And people ended up selling their cars often at university. Bit malicious in hindsight.
Pharmacy college, fast times at pharmacy college. Surely Ed Cavalier at the video shop, practical jokes.
Oh, just the usual, taking really bad old films that had never rented ever, like The Wizard of Speed and Time, out of the weekly section and putting an overnight sticker on it, and then talking it up to all the customers until someone took it. Yeah. That was the standard one.
You would never get a copy of Jean de Florette, take the cassette out, replace it with Caddyshack 2.
No. We
Like that.
We sometimes customers would put the adult films in the like in the family section.
Oh right.
Yeah, that happened a lot.
With the adult films, if I worked in a video shop, what I would do is I'd take some home one night and enjoy them. But after that, I'd hook up a video camera and just record a bit of a condescending message at the start of the video, like on that, just going, lonely are we? Yeah. Maybe work on your conversation skills. Anyway, enjoy the film.
Just cut it in, and then maybe return from time to time throughout the feature.
Yeah, and come back on. How good was that one? That was awesome. That was mad. Like a duck to water.
40 minutes in. Surely you're finished by now. Just rewind. Get on with your life. Mr. Mars, some practical jokes gone horribly wrong.
My best friend and I used to work with this woman, and there's a photo of her, just smiling. But because we sort of had run-ins with this woman,
Yes.
we post the photo back and forth to each other, and it's just like a running inside joke as to the most creative way you can make this photo just appear in this person's life. So, you do everything like you walk forward at the movies and you give the girl who's about to give us the tickets the picture, and you say, give that to my mate, this will be hilarious.
That's great.
Or you wrap it in like a present of a relative of his, and then somehow, what's this photo all about? Then it finds its way back. So this photo's been going the rounds for about 13 years.
Who's got it?
He has at the moment, so I'm just looking in the post, waiting for. It's going to jump out like Kato.
You've got to get it up on the big screen at the MCG or something like that.
Yeah, that's what we've got to
That's
do.
what
We've got to
you've
think
gotta
more and more elaborate, but they're getting
great,
ridiculous.
And
Yeah, this is
the,
a cool
the
one.
woman on the photo, which Adelaide breakfast show did she host?
No, there wasn't anyone from a radio.
Every show in town has already talked about this business. Kate Middleton and Prince whoever, Prince William.
Oh, yeah. They broke up.
Talk that she wasn't posh enough. Here's what Angela Bishop said on Channel 10 News.
Other reports say Kate's family wasn't up to scratch. Apparently her mother, former air hostess Carol, says toilet instead of lavatory.
Oh, my
a big no-no in royal circles.
Oh, how did that come out, though? How did they find out? Would the Queen have tried to, bring it up in conversation?
She's full of traps, the Queen.
So, would you like to try our
Thunderbox?
Thunderbox?
Royal Thunderbox is
That'd be
occupied.
good. Lavatory. Have you ever used the word lavatory in your life?
Never.
No.
Nah.
I'd like to think that that's what tipped it, though. 6 years of romance out the window for not using the word lavatory. Using the word toilet. Thunderbox.
Yeah, it's
long
Yeah,
drop.
no, it doesn't work.
Kazi. Probably threw in a Kazi.
The long drop.
I don't recall Randy Quaid in Christmas Vacation saying the lavatory's backed up.
Yeah. As he empties it into the
Into the gutter.
into the gutter.
That is one of the great characters, Randy Quaid. Poker. I don't know if you guys saw me on the WPT on the weekend.
Richard?
Well, I ran an IQ on it, but I haven't gone back and watched it yet.
Do you like Mike Sexton and Vince Van Patten?
May all your pots be monsters.
Hey, all your pots be monsters.
He's great.
He's laying down the twigs and branches.
No, easy.
He's on the morphine drip. See, I always assumed you couldn't hear Sexton and Van Patten when you're down on the
Yeah,
table.
surely.
Have a listen to what happened.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. We are at the World Poker Finals at Foxwoods. Vince Van Patten alongside Mike Sexton. Let's go back down to the money pit on Nick Schulman.
You don't have a spade? Well, I have a club.
Look at
No
Nick
spades.
Schulman.
Forget it. Okay, forget
He is
that.
happier than Jude Law at a nanny convention.
So we don't. That doesn't
Big
help.
smile by the 21-year-old.
Back down to a jack. Well, Tony is the one that's not happy.
Look, guys, would you keep it down up there?
Tough decision for Tony right here.
Oh, come on.
He caps his cards, and you can see the strain in his face.
Oh, that's not adding too much pressure. Oh, come on. He got the Jude Law joke.
Tony agonizing over this decision.
No, I'm agonising whether to come up to that f***ing booth.
He's got a little over 1.2 million in chips. Cost him not quite half of them to make the call if he wants to make it.
Would you let me just make it?
He is on life support as he gets up from his chair.
Oh, would you two just stop talking and let me concentrate? Come on, it's all right. What do you say? All in.
Here we go. All in. Tony is moving all in here with the ace high.
That's the Tony we know.
Thank you.
There you go. Welcome back, Tony.
Yes.
Good on you guys.
This amateur player
Oh, for
still
sake.
left in this tournament. Vance, this guy got in on a $225 satellite.
That is bullshit.
That is incredible for a guy who's only been playing poker 2 years.
2 years?
Schulman with the 49 a hand.
It's been longer than 2 years. I mean, all in. I've been.
It's all in time.
Well, Tony went all in. He quickly
I
got
didn't
called
mean
by
all in.
Nick.
I didn't mean to say that.
Well, that's unbelievable how quickly he said all in.
I didn't say it.
Before Nick's chips even hit the felt, all in Tony goes all in again.
Hang on. When did I become all in
There you go.
Tony?
All in Tony finally starting to live back up to his name here a
All
little
in
bit.
Tony, stop calling me that.
He's the family man with a plan. He's all in Tony.
I've never been called all in Tony.
We labeled him All In Tony last night.
Oh.
I shortened it to AIT.
Oh, well
He either
done.
goes all in or he doesn't play the hand.
That's not true.
I was playing with him the last 6 hours or so. I think he went all in 25 times.
25 times. That's insane.
Tony's a real loose cannon.
Loose cannon. That's good. That's much better than all in Tony.
Yeah, that pretty much describes his play. He's All In Tony.
I am not all in Tony. For Right, can we just get back to the game, please?
All right, back to the action. Oh, kind of hot right now. Bill Gazes and a nice comeback. Oh, yeah, look at this, Mike.
Stop talking and enough of this all-in.
He's going all in with it, Vince.
No,
what?
I didn't.
Unbelievable.
I didn't mean for that.
Well, Vince, I can't believe this play.
Oh, no.
Tony in dire straits.
Oh, thanks.
King 10 versus pair of aces.
Vince, I got to tell you, I'm a little shocked here by Tony's play.
I didn't
This
mean
guy's
to
been
make
the
the
most
play.
conservative player at the table here all
That's
night
bullshit
long.
for
So
starters.
Tony takes a shot at the worst possible time.
And whose fault is that?
Tony's moment in the sun could be over here
Oh,
shortly.
great.
Let's see what happens. Here comes the flop.
He's flopped a straight. Yes.
Wow.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Tony has flopped the nuts.
I have not flopped any nuts.
He has flopped the king high straight.
Oh, yes, I've done that.
All of a sudden, the two aces crack like an egg.
Blow that out your ass, Mike
Man, you
Sexton.
can just embalm Bill Gazes right now.
Yes.
Wow. A 5 comes off. It is over.
It is over.
Bill Gaze is drawing dead with his two aces.
certainly
This
is.
pot is going to go to all-in Tony.
All in, Tony. Right, Sexton. Last warning. Cover it. And this.
Oh, the pain of it all.
Swat.
So can we just drop that nickname?
Sorry, time. Never happen again.
It's one of the few shows where you can flop the nuts on television.
And get applause. Oh, yes! The nuts!
Get this. It's blown out to 2 hours, 11 to 1 weekdays on the Triple M network.